Since Jim Harbaugh arrived at Michigan, this rivalry game has been something to look forward to. But really, who expected this? Michigan State is unbeaten, but has struggled against lesser competition. Meanwhile, since losing in the season opener at Utah, Michigan has been dominant. The Wolverines look like a Big Ten contender and maybe more. The Spartans could snap out of whatever ails them this week against a hated rival. But it sure looks like Harbaugh's rebuilding program is ahead of schedule. Since that loss to Ole Miss, and I don't know if you've heard, but Alabama committed 5 turnovers, the Crimson Tide has rebounded. A quarterback has grown. Bama looks more like, well, Bama. But here comes a really difficult challenge. Texas A&M is full of swagger and with good reason. The Aggies are unbeaten, and they play that offense that gives Alabama fits. Every game for Alabama is critical now. A second loss would probably knock the Tide out of the playoff chase. A win by Texas A&M, though, would put the Aggies squarely in the middle of that conversation. An unexpected showdown was thrown into uncertainty with the announcement this week that Florida quarterback Will Grier has been suspended for the rest of the season after testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs. But the Gators will still bring the best defense into Baton Rouge that LSU has seen this season, and maybe will see this season. Can they slow down Leonard Fournette and the Tigers? The lingering question for LSU has been what happens if that happens. Can Brandon Harris pass well enough to win? We might find the answer to that on Saturday. Chaos reigns with the USC program after the firing of Steve Sarkisian, and interim coach Clay Helton's first task is pretty formidable. After losing their second game, which eliminates them from their highest goals, he takes the Trojans into South Bend against a very good Notre Dame team that, despite a loss, could and probably will factor into the playoff chase. This isn't the marquee matchup that it could have been, but it's probably more fascinating. Coming off that stunning loss to Texas, there are suddenly plenty of questions about Oklahoma. Was it just a really bad one-game blip or the sign of serious flaws? If we've learned anything in college football this season, it's that teams can have meteoric swings from one week to the next. But playing Kansas State is a challenge anytime. This isn't one of Bill Snyder's better teams, but the Wildcats are still a threat to beat almost anyone, almost any time. Is Oklahoma still a threat in the Big 12 and maybe beyond? It seems hard to fathom, but we'll know more after their trip to Manhattan.